How has consulting, this paradigm shift, changed your life in terms of your attitude and mentality towards things that you're deployed to? Like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people are limiting themselves, it's unfortunate, how people only go for what they know they can get, right?
Mm,
So after the
mm,
experience that I had, I really believe that you can actually get what you really want. Now, so here's the thing that most people are hiding behind that curtain that they can only get certain things. And there's certain things I can't have because I don't have the money. The biggest limitation that people have is money and time, right? So if you talk
yeah.
about, let's say if you talk about entrepreneurs and businesses, a lot of them, I know they go to investors, they go to venture capitalists, etc. But there is a limiting factor that's actually, revolving in their mind that, hey, but what if this happens or what if that happens? So this is what my experience and my consulting practice has taught me, that unfortunately people are wired to think in a limited way, but my attitude has completely shifted to know and to believe that you can actually get what it is that you really want. As I say, it's a game of frequencies, right? Now, I'm not saying that you talk to me one day and overnight you'll have what it is that you want. No, it's consistent, persistent work. You have to be very dedicated, committed, and disciplined, and it's something you really really want to do. You have to want to do it. You have to be willing to put in the work, right? And that is how I was able to shift that frequency. And it took me like just about 6 months or 6 to 8 months to do it. So it's not easy, because one day you wake up and you feel like, oh my God, today I'm not in the mood of doing this. I don't feel like, right? Humans are prone to laziness, procrastination, right? And we love to avoid the work we need to do the most, right? So
Yeah.
this is what I have learned, that you really have to hang on to, go to the why. Go to your why you really want to do something or why you really want something. And that should automatically push you towards it.
Wow. 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 I mean, I have so many questions to ask you, but I'm just like, yeah, I have to follow the script because you know what? This one's a bit talked to on a bigger platform. Okay. Um, Maybe can you elaborate on the principle and actionable steps that you believe are essential for individuals and businesses to achieve success and manifest their goals into reality?
Absolutely. So I would say the overall work that people need to do is the mindset work, right? The whole reprogramming, the paradigm shift that I've talked about. So that's the overall picture, because your mindset controls 95% of all the results that you get. Now, this world is all about strategies, right? Strategies are amazing, but guess what? They only have a 5% contribution to your success. This is the reality. And it's a reality that people have not come terms to yet. So they keep struggling, working harder, not realizing that the paradigm is controlling 95% of the results. So that is the overall step that they need to take. Now, what do I exactly mean by a paradigm? So let me just give you a few examples. So the first thing that people need to work on, is to determine what it is that they really want. Now, the first thing that gets in the way to answering that question is your paradigm itself. So that is actually the first step in overcoming your paradigm, by allowing yourself to identify what is your goal as an entrepreneur. Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? What kind of revenue would you like to generate? And don't see it from the point where you think you can get, you can achieve something. Look at it from the point, is this where you really want to be? So that is the first step to success, in identifying, where do you really, really want to get to? What achievements do you want to accomplish by a certain, by the end of this year or by the end of next year? And something you really want, not something you think you can get or something you know how to get. I hope you guys are getting the difference, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's number one, right? So that's the first actionable step. And your paradigm is definitely going to get in the way. Now, the second step I would say is your self-image. All right. Now, your
Mhm.
self-image is how you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself. And because of that, how you eventually act. Now, people usually feel that they have a very strong self-image, Not necessarily, because your self-image was actually determined in your childhood. And there are factors that are unconsciously playing out as you are trying to operate in your business, as you're trying to start your business, right? So the way you see yourself is a direct determinant of where you will sit in your business results, in your revenue, in your career, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So your self-image is largely internally driven. So let me give you an example, right? Not to brag, but I always had a pretty face. You know, people tell me that you have such a lovely smile.
Very
And
pretty.
yeah, thank you. So that's been from a young age. But remember what I
Mm.
said to you in the beginning, that I didn't have confidence. I had a poor self-image. I was living in fear. Now, people didn't know that when they would look at my face. So, you know, you dress up and you go out there and, you know, people think, oh, this person is so smart, confident. But the truth is, you know, how do you see yourself? How do you feel about yourself? You know, that is where your results lie. And that will directly reflect in your results. And your self-image is something that has the biggest impact on your results. Here's the thing, guys. You can never outperform your self-image. You can only change it. So your self-image is here and your results, the results you want are here, your goal, right? So until you don't work on your self-image, the truth is your results will actually adjust your self-image until you don't adjust your self-image, right? So
Yeah.
the thing is that your self-image can never be outperformed, right? So you have to only change it and work on it to level up to the results that you want. So these are the two major actionable steps that I will, you know, discuss for now. And I mean, there's a lot, you know, this is a whole program, it's a whole process. So I
Yeah.
can't, obviously, I'm not going to be able to discuss all that, but these are the two main factors, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get our mentors to join the program, me included. I have to jump in and get more wisdom that you're sharing here. Yeah. Nene, maybe you have another question before I proceed?
Yeah, how do you tailor your approach to coaching and consulting to meet specific needs and goals of your clients, particularly in the context of mindset transformation and empowerment? Yeah.
Yeah, lovely question. So, you know, I always begin. So the first step with my process is always to identify with the client, you know, what it is that they really want, right? And largely my focus is entrepreneurs, business owners, and career professionals. All right. So most of them are always geared around, you know, increase in revenue or money goals. You know, I love the word money because people don't like to talk about it sometimes, but I love talking about it because it's important, right? So it's always, it always first starts with, you know, what do you really want to achieve? And not what you think you can achieve or what you know how to achieve, or not what you've been achieving in the last 2 or 5 years. No, what do you really, really want to achieve in your personal life, in your professional life, right? So that is the first question. Now, when we have that question answered, then the path becomes clear. The path just, you know, it gets paved on its own because I have certain steps that you have to undergo in order to achieve your goals. So based on what it is that you want to achieve, then I tailor, you know, the program. So my coaching is, okay, so I'll be very honest. I've never ever prepared for any coaching call until now. It's something that I don't know. I think it's more of a gift for me. You know, it's not something I really, of course I was trained and all, but I feel like I do have a gift for, I think, understanding people, if you know what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
you know, when you come on a call with me and you tell me, you know, that this is what I would like to achieve, you know, and then we take it from there. And then each and every step, you know, just gets tailored and we go into the in-depth process of each stage of how you can now get closer to what it is that you want to achieve. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, that really makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So in your expertise, what are some of the common challenges that startups, entrepreneurs, and career professionals face? And how do you help them overcome these challenges through your guidance and expertise?
This is a very interesting question. I believe it's large part is fear and a lack of self-belief. Now, fear because here's the thing, guys, you know, we are so data driven. We are so externally driven by our circumstances, you know. People talk about economic challenges, you know, they'll be like, oh, but this person in XYZ industry did not do well. Guess what? two people in the same industry, in the same country, can perform at very different levels. You know why? Because their paradigm is driving their performance. It's actually highly nothing to do with economic challenges. It's nothing to do with what's happening externally. Now, this is something that may sound very absurd, to somebody who's very strategy and economically driven. But this is what Bob Proctor has learned and researched and applied for over 60 years. And he realized that two people in the same economy, one can be doing very well, one is completely doomed simply because of the difference in the paradigm. So what is the paradigm again? Your fears, your thinking around how things are operating, your lack of self-belief. See, and it's not anybody's fault that this is how they're thinking about themselves, because it's come from a certain background. We've all been brought up in a different manner, right? And no offense, but I feel like a large population in Africa has a very common set of beliefs, around money, around poverty, around business growth, especially for those, there are those who feel like they are, what do you call it? They are less privileged. There's a large part of the population that feels that we are less privileged. But guess what? You can actually turn that around for yourself. So I believe, your own programming, your own paradigm, your own mindset can be either your best friend or your biggest enemy. So some of the trends that I have noticed, in with entrepreneurs, startups, career professionals, is a lack of self-belief and fear. Oh, will I make it? Will I succeed? Because there's a monetary investment that goes behind any business, right? When you start it up. So there's a fear that what if I fail and lose that money? Because, I'll disappoint that investor or whoever I borrowed the money from. What will people say? And, your self-image comes into play because, you want to be recognized, right? To some extent. You're afraid. People will judge me if I fail as an entrepreneur, right? That's a very big fear, right? Because our image, our external image is very important to us. So these are some of the things, and how I help now, in simple terms, is to drive that complete paradigm shift around these ideas. Because remember, how you think is how you feel is how you act. Unfortunately,